that intro. I'm quite chuffed with myself. I thought I was going to nouse that up completely and utterly because it's been about 4 years since I last presented an episode. Hello, everybody. It's Monday night. Welcome to Plastic Crack Podcast, Season 4, Episode 20. That's quite terrifying. Is that correct? Is it accurate? Have we goosed that up as well?
Yeah, no, that is right. But
Apparently
we have missed a few as well because of weddings and stag do's and
laziness. Laziness, yes. But yes, you'll notice we are yet again a man down. Ken is off doing family things on a Monday night. So you're left in the capable hands of myself, Steve from On Point HQ. Over there, we've got Martin, Seven Son.
Hello.
And down there, Project Extraordinaire, Dom from Boots on the Table. How is everybody this fine, warm, uncomfortable Monday night?
You're getting worried because up north it's got a bit warm for 5 minutes and you're getting you get too moist down below.
We've had more than 4 days of continuous sunshine. That's not even in the Doomsday Book.
It was prophesied that one day it would happen, and then the end times would start.
Yeah. And tomorrow it'll be torrential rain. Yeah,
it will be. Apparently, at the end of the week it's going to rain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently.
Bloody hell!
Just in time for another weekend, probably.
I know. Oh well, what can you do? Right. Before we go on, a bit of housekeeping. Just a big thank you to everyone that's watching on the catch up. And I know, look at that. Oh, 2 minutes in, and I've got it out the way. Right. Another thing. Boards and Swords are we're very, very proud to be sponsored by the awesome chaps over at Boards and Swords in Derby. So using the code PCP5 when you check out your order on the Boards and Swords website gets you an additional 5% off your order on top of the already awesome discount that Ian and his chaps provide to you.
I think it's because everyone's when I say everyone's raging, but there's that new Star Wars Shatterpoint that's come out that I had no interest in, and then I watched a video about it, and now I'm trying to not watch any more because I don't really care about the models, but I really like the mechanics, and obviously I suppose we'll talk about this later. But I believe I don't know if I know he's expecting all of his stock over the next couple of days. So keep checking his website out if that is something you're interested in. It seems to have sold out in a lot of places.
Yeah, I can imagine it will be quite popular because it's not 28 mil, is it? It's a bit, isn't it? Like 32 or
it's 40.
40?
Yes.
Oh, that's a bit too much like Crisis. Marvel Crisis Protocol for me, which I've still managed to avoid getting involved in because I just think that way lies madness for me. Dom, you interested?
I've just zoned out for the last 5 minutes and no idea what you're talking about. Sorry, carry on.
Big figures, Marvel Crisis Protocol. Big figures. Big expensive figures is what they really are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't thank you.
I didn't really think it'd be your cup of tea, mate. I really didn't. Right, let's have a look to see who's joined us on this fine Monday night. So we've got Glendower, East Norfolk's Nigel Jones. Good evening, all. Yorkshire Dragoonies. Test stripping minis in IPA and a sonic cleaner.
Is that legal?
I don't know. It sounds like a question in a cryptic crossword.
It does, doesn't it? Blimey.
Andrew Jeff is here. Storm of Steel. Hello, Alex. Mark Forsyth. Louis Baby. Robin is here. Walk About Games. Double Dip. Carizette. Carl Burks. Alid. Steve Harbour. Paul Parker. Philip Hyman. Bigger City, hello Don, how you doing, mate? Old School FRP, Simon Weinberger, Miller is here. Miller. Martin told me a very, very disturbing fact about you on Friday night. Very disturbing.
We are really want to have words with you.
I've got right. Brace yourself, everybody. Martin, do you want to tell them or should I?
I can't remember what I said. I say so much about them when they're not around. Okay, I can't remember what I said. What did I say? I remember
you let us know that Miller has never seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, I thought we were talking about someone else. Yeah,
there's another one.
No, we'll discuss that blackmail material later. No, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Just so happened that when Martin was playing What a Cowboy on Friday, I was sat at home drinking red wine and watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So it's quite apt that they were playing a cowboy-based game. And then he hit us with the fact that Miller's never seen it.
I'll put the soundtrack on.
And we were shocked.
Why not? Why not? And he said he hadn't seen it. And then we went through a whole litany of westerns that he hasn't seen. And then I remember he'd seen 310 to Yuma, like the new one, and one you said was, dude, sorry. But yeah, there was general disgust all around. And then he beat me, which was even
either way, Miller, mate, you're being unfriended very soon. Daniel's here, Mozart, who's been having fun and games with Kit this afternoon. He's been trying to put together a metal artillery kit.
Oh gosh,
yeah,
not a warlord one.
No. Blacks is here. Welcome, Blacks. String 7. John Sowerby, Nick Dawson's here. Roy B. Joseph Kananovitz. I imagine it's warm there, mate. North Carolina, nice and sunny and getting hot. I can well imagine it's quite warm in North Carolina at this time of year. And we've got Roger from Ontario. Is it hot or cold there in the moment? I'm not quite sure.
I'm going to say cold.
I think it's the same as us. I think
I'm going to say cold as well. Shakos and Sprues. So hello, James. 9999 Pardon is here. Andy Stocker, Rich M, Historical Doppelganger. Have we seen you on the stream before, mate? Because that's a new name on me.
It's a good name.
Good name though.
I like the picture. That's ace.
What is it?
It's like a musketeer, isn't it? Resting on that. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see it now. I see the boot. The big Puss in Boots he's got on there. They just remind me of Puss in whenever. He's got a point there. Yeah, that's a good riposte. Well done.
Well done. Bravo.
You saved a little bit back there.
You're wrong, but bravo.
Oh, check this out from John. The well-oiled machine getting the stuff done in the first 5 minutes. If I'm not organised, I'm really not. What else we got here? Paul's Paint Shed. Hello, Paul. He's managed to glue his finger to his eye. Brilliant.
Sounds like Martin last week.
I was going to say.
I rewatched that from last week, and I didn't realise that Ken had zoomed in on my face when I did it. It took me 3 days to get that all out. That was.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
That looked decidedly painful, mate. Decidedly painful.
It was just a painful experience all round. That I'll talk about it in a little while because I'm sure we'll do the catch up. But yeah, all round last week, not the stream. Well, that was probably pretty painful anyway. But the experience of that rocket was just one of the most unfun times I've ever had.
I'm too scared to read this one out. Flannel Father Whiplash.
Whoa.
Evening, lads. Been a while. You might have to refresh my memory there.
I think he's talking to you, Martin.
Okay.
Frank's Miniatures. Who else is in? Go to the bottom. Benjamin's here. Roger Chrysler. And there we are. We're at the bottom, and I managed to get through it all without swearing. How great is that? Right.
Yes, we do.
Because normally this thing goes all over the place. And I've actually, whenever I do it, I always bring a mouse with me because it's better than using a scroll pad. Because, yes. It used to be the Epic Joey. Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Interesting choice of username. It sounds like a trauma film. Right. Does anyone remember trauma films? They did Swamp Thing, and I think they did Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town as well, but I can't.
That sounds
you
like
lost me.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to convince Haley to watch Surf Nazis Must Die, which is a film I got upstairs that was gifted to me on my birthday. But she doesn't seem keen.
I still want to watch that Velocipasta.
Have you watched The Ginger Dead Man yet?
No. Velocipasta is about this guy. I think he loses his parents and he goes to China, then he can turn into a Tyrannosaurus Rex and he fights ninjas.
Sounds amazing.
Why are you sure these are actual films you watch and not
these are actual films
of your drinking?
No. These are actually real. Do you know what? I came that close to watching that new Winnie the Pooh film the other week.
Oh yes, that looks ace. That does look ace.
So the premise is Christopher Robin's grown up and gone, and then I think like Pooh and Eeyore and Piglet have just turned into like psycho killers. Yeah,
they want to go find him. They want to go find him. I tell you what, though, just because we're on this, I watched Halloween Kills because I like the new Halloween films. So, I've never been a big fan because I like Danny McBride, who's produced them, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I've got to watch Halloween Ends this week. I watched Smile last night. That was a bit pants, in my opinion. It's just a ring, kind of. But more right. I remember Haley woke up and she went, "Why have they got so many teeth?" And then just went back to sleep.
That's a good observation. No, I had a really cheerful Saturday night and I watched The Captain. Yeah, that was hard. That's an uplifting film, isn't it?
Oh yes, you messaged about that. Yeah, that's just what you want to watch if you're feeling like, Yes,
I was like, because I hadn't seen it. I know loads of people have mentioned it, and it got to about 9 o'clock, and I was struggling to find something to watch. And I remembered The Captain, and it's actually free on Prime. So I watched it, and then when it finished, I was like, right, I think I need a drink now. That was really, really grim and dark. Anyway, enough of this depressing film chatter. Let's talk about what we've been up to. Martin, what have you been up to, mate?
Hang on a second. I'm just sticking something. Go to Dom. I'm just sticking a thing.
Okay, Dom, over to you.
Sorry, Dom.
Luckily, I hadn't started gluing, so you're all right. I'm okay with this.
Sorry, Steve.
No, that's all right.
No, I love listening to all these films. Most of them I've never ever heard of, and I have to then go googling, and then Elaine goes, "What the hell's our viewing history look like that for?" I don't know, whatever. Right, what have I been up to? I've had a reasonable week this week, pretty good on the figure count, which is great. Another load of Bill and Bo.
Ooh.
I think.
Ooh, nice.
I don't like to tempt fate, but I think that will be my last unit of Bill and Bo. So I think that's Norfolk's. I hope it's Norfolk. Anyway, it's in my world. Is Norfolk because I've pretty much finished everything I need to do painting wise that I'd made up. So I'm not going to make up any more Bill and Bo. I've got a few other bits and bobs for the War of the Roses, but I think that'll probably do it. And then I got on with another unit of Irish Axeman for the Bruce's in Ireland project, which is pretty much done. It's just I'm finishing up a few odds and sods of figures, and that is a real odds and sods collection. There is everything.
That's cool.
Tell you what,
I like the guy on the right. Who's
the guy in the red cape?
Yeah.
He's a brute, isn't he? I mean, Jesus. There's a real mixed bag. There's Gripping Beast, there's Victrix, there's all sorts in there. Perry's in there, and some of them actually got kit bashed of all different bits and bobs. So yeah, that was a laugh to put that together. So I think I'm going to use that as a unit of Boniacs or Bonacs. So that's that, and then I needed to change it up, so I moved into 15 mil and
nice.
Got the old German anti-tank guns out from Battlefront.
Very nice.
Which I love doing. It's so nice to do, aren't they, Steve? These plastics.
Oh, God,
absolutely lovely.
So what I like about them is they go together easily. The instructions are like instructions should be.
Yep.
And there's nothing on there that you don't need on there. They just go together. Every time I speak to anyone about Battlefront plastic kits, I just keep saying they go together. That's what they do. They just fit together really well.
There's nothing too sophisticated with them, but they do the job absolutely perfectly. So the hardest bit with that was trying to work out how the ammo box went together, and I realized then it doesn't actually go together. It's just a lid and a box. It's like, okay, that was easy. So I did them, and then I moved on. I had a box of Panzer III.
Yay, Panzer IIIs.
So I did that.
Nice.
I did a little video about them. So making those, because they're dead easy and they're so much fun to make up. And I had to get that sort of Semavente out of my system. So I thought doing some 15 mils was a good option. They're again, just an absolute joy to do. And yet that kit, there's 5 tanks there, and you can do 3 different variants of the same Panzer III in it, which is brilliant. Which is perfect for O group and other things that I'd probably use it for. And then because he was calling, I needed to do something slightly different. So I got out the old musketeer.
Oh, it's ace.
The old musketeer from CrackCon last year.
I love painting mine. I painted it in one session. Took me about 3 hours. Just sat down, painted it in one go.
They are
lovely,
so weeny, aren't they?
Yes.
I had the same, Steve. I mean, literally took me a few hours. It was longer waiting for it to dry than it was to actually paint it. It was so much fun to do. So yeah, that was me this week. That's what I've been up to.
That's really, really, really nice. I don't think I've done one yet. I'll have to get it sorted. Oh, sorry. Now
I don't want any done, James. I've got lots of other things you can make up for me, though. I'm going to bring them up to CrackCon. I'm going to deposit a load of kit for you to make. You're going to find all the hard ones.
That's just everyone, right?
Pretty much for me, to be honest. Unless it's Battlefront, it is everything.
Okay. Sorry, is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I've got a fairly chunky one, I suppose.
Careful now.
Those of you who watched the stream last week will know that I got a little bit upset with my.
Would you like to apologise for your language now?
Yes, as I've been called out for my language, I do apologise for my language. But as we all know, these things are sent to try us, and we emerge the other side as better people. Apparently, I'm not sure if I did. So we'll go to
to be honest.
I rewatched it, and I don't even remember the stream. I don't remember a lot of the stream. I did notice I was mostly like this. Sort of,
you were preoccupied. I would say you were preoccupied quite a lot.
Yeah, it was so painful. And then because I glued that rocket together, and then it sat on my shelf for like 4 days because I didn't want to go anywhere near it. I didn't want to look at it. I lost. I'm surprised that I was so close to binning it, but I thought no, I'm not going to be beaten. So what I have done, I finished my naval brigade and its artillery support. So there they are. There's these are all Empress miniatures.
Nice figures.
So they down the front. So you got essentially a battalion, even though it's a company of the naval brigade. I decided not to. Well, I did try to put HMS Shah on all of these sort of the bands, and slowly lost the will to live. So I decided to not do that, and so they can be for any of them. Plus the rocket tube, plus the Gatling gun. Oh yes, yeah. Miller wants it. I did. Where is it? There he is. Look on the left hand side. There is the one I've young
the
James.
Big Ginge.
Yeah, so no, they were good fun to paint. Surprisingly, I don't say surprisingly easy. I didn't, even though the uniform is pretty straightforward, I didn't find it particularly repetitive, which was nice. I thought there they are, sort of marching forwards. And then where's the bugger?
Nice facial hair, I have to say.
I do like, but the thing is, I seem to want to paint all my facial hair either ginger or white. I don't know why. And they're sailors, so I was like, ginger. I don't know why I had this. There we are. There is the rocket tube.
Oh, the infamous.
There we go. Plus, so it came with the 3 crewmen. The guy on the left who's got the.
Hey Martin, you put it round the wrong way, mate.
Don't. I know it isn't, so don't you dare. Hopefully you can't see the tactical bits and bobs that I had to hide in there to get the bloody thing to stay upright. But no, it was a lot of fun. The guy on the left with the Martini Henry, he's actually left over from the actual unit. Shut up, Robin. Right, that's a red card. Where is it? I want to do it. He's out. I've got to find it. I've been wait. Right, that's it. Off you pop. Off he goes. Oh, that felt good. Why since we've had to do that? Yes, it's so no, that was a good. The guy on the left in the Martini Henry, he was left over from the unit because I just couldn't really find somewhere. I can't work out what he's offering. It's not water, and I didn't know if it's meant to be a carton of cigarettes or just a tin of foods, but I just felt it looked. If he was standing next to the officer there who's trying to arrange it, it looked quite fun. And then here is the Gatling gun. as you can see, it appears that a lot of the sailors on here are brothers because they've all got the same facial hair. But it stands out well when you've got this sea of.
Freud would have a field day with your beard fetish of.
I don't know what it is, but I really, really enjoyed doing these. So I'm going to put this will be. In terms of black powder, it's a fake. In terms of black powder, I'll run these as a single division. Have their own command base, and it'll just be the 2 artillery pieces and that unit. But they've got quite an interesting history, which I'm going to do a video update on them because I've done a lot of reading about them now, and it's absolutely fascinating. But it seemed like a good excuse to do a Gatling gun, not for the Napoleonic era, as Ken believed. So I painted those, so it's great fun. Your real thing for Gingerbeard should be in Robin be worried. Robin doesn't have a ginger beard, and no. I don't know quite where to go with this because it's going to go to a dark place.
Do you want a yellow card, Steve?
It would just look like a paperclip in 6mm. I guarantee you, a 6mm one would have been a lot easier to put together because that stupid tripod would have just been like one because there's no way that someone's going to have done it. That was horrendous. But yes, then I had the gruesome twosome over to play What a Cowboy on Friday night. So we ran through a sort of a sniper shootout, which was fun. I want to play some more of it. It's a very lardy. I don't really know how to say it another way. It's a very lardy game. If you've played What a Tanker, then obviously you'll sort of be on a similar thing. But yeah, it was good fun. I did think Miller was going to flip the table at one point. And then if you roll 3 6s during your activation, you triggered an event, and there was just one turn where I rolled 3 6s sort of like twice in a row and then rolled 4 6s. And that ended the turn, and all this great. I was expecting it to be a stampede, and no, my guy kind of got like an extra move, and then I rolled to see how far he went. He just like went an inch. So it is good fun. It's a fun system. I enjoyed it a lot. I definitely would want to play this over as a campaign rather than just let's go down the club, or do you what do you fancy playing? Let's play What a Cowboy. I'd rather get a group and like play What a Cowboy for say like a month. Let's do a campaign and let's get that done. I think it's cool like that. So we'll be giving it another go. And I suppose I should probably mention some other things that have come up. So shall I put? So who is it? Mark said, I don't believe Mark rolled 3 6s twice. There must have been a hijinks. So I rolled 3 6s. I rolled 10 6s in a row. You can ask Miller. There were no hijinks. That might have been the point he was going to flip the table. No, it was good. It was lovely to have people around. So is it true you're doing a set of Wars of the Roses minis? Maybe. Nope. No, yeah. So those of you who are on the Plastic Crack Podcast Facebook group, or never mind the Bill Hooks, or Rams might have seen that some pictures have started floating around of some miniatures that various people have painted up and I sent out. And yes, they are mine. So essentially, I for the last year, which you've probably heard me sort of say off and on, that I've been working on stuff or working on Wars of the Roses stuff. I've been working on these, sort of getting references and designs and talking to sculptors and finding one sculptor who I'm insanely happy agreed to do some work with me, because it's Macross from Reconquer Designs, who very, very kindly has given me some of his time to put together my crazy ideas for me. But it's been so much fun. But also these guys, and especially Dom, who I keep on sending pictures to, going, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Although Dom shakes his head, but all Dom replies is yes.
There's very little. Well, there was one I did come back to and said I'm not sure about that one, but other than that, they've all been absolutely amazing. I can't honestly.
Oh, was that the one where I found the reenactor doing the come at me?
Like
that.
Come to Jesus kind of thing. That was.
So it's been so. I might as well give you guys a little sneaky preview, because I don't want to do it anywhere else first other than on the Plastic Crack. So so far there are 3. Well, there's 3 fully sculpted and ready to go, and one with 1 variant, and then there should be hopefully a 4th by the end of the month. At which point, them. So the first one that's been done. Now you might have seen this because somebody snuck him onto a command base last week. So who that was? It was so the first one we've done. So this is my thing. We have our standard bearer, who's armed. Now that's obviously Pete's flags. He is wearing a simple livery coat, but he's at both the hands. All the things I've done, and Dom will tell you. Steve hasn't done any of them because I think Steve would cry when it comes to the livery stuff. I didn't want to put you through it, Steve. But I will send some of your way. The hands are open and you can fit different weapons in them. So he's got a warhammer, and so you can see either side. He's painted up as belonging to Lord Zouche. Then we've got the Knight Banneret, who's this chap who's going for it. Now he comes in 2 different variations. You can either have him with a helmet on or not. There he is.
Not holding back that one, is he?
No, he's someone's about to have a bad day. But I remember saying to Macross, I really want you. Can we do some damage? So he's done all these little rips and tears, and I'd come back to him and say, "Quick, can we make the rip bigger?" Yes.
That's really why Martin won't send it to him.
Yeah, please don't. So you get him like that. In fact, I've uploaded it because all these pictures started here. I thought I'll paint up another one. So that's what he looks like without the helmet on, and that's what it looks like with the helmet on. So, and there he is painted up as Sir David Matu, who's apparently the chap who saved Edward IV at Towton. So I decided to put him on a snowy base. So again, he's got open grip. So that was good fun to paint. So these are all 28mm, obviously, and they go in with the Perry stuff. And then the last one, which is one of my, well, they're all I love them all, but this chap here is my captain of archers.
Awesome.
He's like a veteran.
The beard fetish again.
Yeah, but he's not ginger. That's old Miller. That's Miller when he's
old
been
Miller.
Old Miller. Old Miller. So he comes with the bow, but it was great fun because we wanted to work on the Brigade, so I was using examples from the Royal Armories and send him to him, and then I wanted delivery bend. It basically involves a lot of me going, Can you do this? Can you do this? Do you think you can do this? And then by the time I look at it, I need to take some armor off of him or he wouldn't be able to move. But yeah, that's been a great deal of fun. So you're going to see some things pop.
The problem is, mate, everybody, there is no filter between Martin and Macross, because every time he says, "Can I do this?" he goes, "Yeah," and it's there, and it's like, no, there's supposed to be something. I mean, literally, it's just unbelievable the stuff.
Well, it's the problem. The thing is I'll do one, and I send him my very very khaki sketch. Because art is not my fine point. Although I suppose miniature painting, anyway. And what happens is I send it to him. I'm like, "Can you make it look like this?" And then he'll say, "Have you thought about this?" I haven't, but I have now. So please, can we add this in? And then the other thing he sort of had, he goes, I could add this on. Can you just do that? Thank you. So there's lots of ideas going back and forth, and the guy has got such a good grasp of how clothing moves and just anatomy. And when I had the guy leaping forward, I think originally I had him going even more for it, and he was saying to me, because the human body can't actually do that, right? Like, especially in armor. So yeah, it was. It's been a lot of fun, but yeah, there's more to come. So yeah, and they will be available. I'm hoping at the end of the month, maybe, if everything sort of comes together. But obviously, as it's the PCP, I'll put things up here. But I'll do a more in-depth update on the channel about it. And are they free? Yes, they are. I hope you've all got a drink. Yes, they are. The 3D prints, but I'm not. They're not going to be. It's not the SDLs file. They'll be just available as physical things. Dom's had some, so he can tell you.
And they are lovely. Yeah, really nicely done. The resin is very, very good.
I mean, obviously, if you hock it against a wall, then it will you're going to get some glue. But it should be able to survive a couple of drops at least. But no, seriously, there's been a little while spent sort of doing things. In fact, I've got some on the print bed behind me as we speak. So yeah. It's been good fun. Now ask me what I'm painting.
What are you painting, Martin?
Oh, for God's sake.
Bloody hell. I did not expect that.
I went in there for some paint. All I did was go in there for that. That's all happened, right? And the next thing you know, I've left with dinosaurs. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's just because dealing with that rocket tube. Just
you can't blame everything on the rocket tube.
Martin, do you want to explain to Dom what they are?
I'm not even sure what they are. They're lizard men, aren't they? They're lizard men. They're space traveling lizard men that are now called the Seraphon. They're dinosaurs, all right. They're dinosaurs with clubs.
I'm so pleased you cleared that up for me.
And it's so cool. But no, I just thought I was like, if I'm going to paint, I just want to paint something different. And it's like a dinosaur with a club. That's a bit different. So I just wanted to do something different from the rocket tube. The rocket tube did anyway. Sorry, I'm gonna have nightmares about it. But yeah, so it's been a busy week over here. It's been a very busy week, very exciting week. Very exciting. Slightly daunting week.
Nothing daunting about them. They're fabulous figures, so it's great to see. I know they'll, if nothing else, this community, I'm sure, will buy loads of them. So
Haley saw them and said something like, "Oh, if you sell, like, I can't remember what she said. I think it was something like." Because Haley obviously immediately was like, "Do you need a spreadsheet?" And like, no, I don't want a spreadsheet. But she was like, who does she want to go and see? Hanson being supported by, I don't know, Top Loader or something. I can't remember who the other person was. I said that I'd tell Steve that I'm sure you'd be up for it because it's up Manchester way. So I sort of think you could go with her to that.
I once, in the middle of Manchester one time, when I had long hair, so I've gone about 23 years, my hair was down to about there. It was dead straight. And me and my mate had come out of Gilly's Rock Club. Gilly's, yeah. And some bloke came up to us because we had similar hair and he started singing Mbop at us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because we had like handsome looking hair. So I've been traumatized by Hanson. No, he was very, very violent looking, so I wasn't gonna dodgy hair.
There we go. PCP booze. You can have your own booze. We'll make a PCP booze. It'll just be called Old Miller, and it'll be a ginger ale.
I love it.
He's here, folks. He's here all night.
I am. I'm in a better mood tonight than I was last week. Thank you, Alex. Will they be available at CrackCon 4? Yes, they'll be available before CrackCon 4. And available where I've decided to set up an Etsy shop because I don't want to deal with a website myself, basically. And there's only 4 to start with, and if anything, if it doesn't work out, then there's 4 cool looking sculpts that people can get, and I've got in my collection. So there we go. That's it. Also, you can print them off at 54mm, which I did discover, which was quite fun.
Ooh.
I'll shut up.
Good for a skirmishy type game.
This comment. I'm going to paint something different. Ask Steve to paint his helicopter for him. Funny you should mention that.
Hey.
Funny you should mention that. I've got no photographs to show because I've been building it. Look at that, but you never thought you'd see that.
Bloody hell, mate.
Do you know what? Every time you sent a picture of it, all I can think of is the opening scene from Predator, where with Jesse Ventura, you need to get a guy in a cowboy hat chewing some tobacco.
Yes, I'm about 75% way through, but I've encountered a problem, and I think it's my fault. It's nothing major. There's a really, really, really small gap between the top of the hull and the door, and I cannot get it to close. I don't know what I've done wrong. It was so far. It's been brilliant to put together. Absolutely fantastic kit. I cannot praise Rubicon enough for this kit because like I said in a couple of comments on the Facebook group, it looks intimidating because you've got about 7 or 8 different variants you can build, and you've got all the bits for those variants on the sprues. So when you open it, you think, "Oh lordy, look at the state of this. I'm going to put it away and never look at it ever again because it's terrifying." But once you actually sit down and work out the variant that you're doing, it's quite simple. And I spent ages working on the cockpit and the controls and the pilots, and you can't see any of it. You can't see a single thing. I've put decals on the
why
control
did
panels.
you do it then, Steve?
Because it's for completeness. If I'd have put a blank cockpit in there, or I even painted and highlighted the boots, you can't see. Or actually, no, you can see the boots because there's little things at the bottom, so you'll be able to see the boots. Look at that. So I opted for the 1 M60 gunner. It's the U1 1H or 1D, I think is the one I've gone for. But thoroughly enjoyable kit to put together. I've got to apologise. My hay fever's just kicked in, and I can't stop sneezing. As if I sound like I'll probably sound like Barry White soon. But yeah, it's been really good. So that's all I've really worked on. I did some more old group, but that's not based, and I don't show unbased figures.
No.
So the plan for this week is to work some more on the Huey. I've got a couple of these little T7, I think they're T70s to paint from Battlefront.
Oh, very nice.
They're tiny compared to the other Russian army, like the IS-2s. These are so small, absolutely little tiny, teeny Soviet armor. Actually, to be fair, I did finish the 2. I can't see them. The 2, they're massive.
Oh,
absolutely massive tanks.
Yeah, they look like 28 mils, don't they? They're so big.
They're absolutely huge. And I've been planning my next video, so it's going to be a showcase of my Deutsche Africa course. So while I've not been overly painting, this has been a nice kit to do. And like I said, I followed the instructions, but not the way they wanted them. So I did it from the inside out rather than just follow what they did. Because I really wanted the interior to be done first. Although, like I say, you can't really see anything.
But you know it's there.
I know it's there. Didn't we talk about this the other week about?
We did.
If you've got a crewman, you can't see his legs. Would you paint his legs?
No. I wouldn't even put them in if I could get away with it.
Glyndor, it's a completely different type of kit. I would say Warlord kit. They're for wargaming, and they go together. They go together relatively well. And they're just things you put on the tabletop. This is only my second Rubicon kit that I've worked on, but even the truck that I worked on was quite detailed. I just think they straddle that sort of scale modeling stroke wargaming thing. But I've really enjoyed that, and it's made me want to start painting some more US Marines because I only painted about 6 or 7 of them last year. So I really need to crack on with those. But that's been my week. And I'm just glad that I finally got it started. It only took me 6 months.
Is that how long it's been?
Yeah, it arrived the same day as this.
Oh yes, I remember.
Oh yes.
I've not even finished this yet. Mainly because I forgot how to paint the skin. Because it's been that's going to fall over now because it's been that long. And I was meant to be doing some more pike and shot, the epic one, but I've been distracted by the Huey, so it's just good to get it out of the way. Yeah, right, so that's weekly updates out of the way. On to tonight's chat. So as you'll see from the title, it is what do you look for in a new war game? I'll tell you what inspired. There's a couple of things that inspired the topic. One was I was looking through the Space Weirdos rulebook again. Because I love Space Weirdos, it's really, really good, and that is basically what 8 sides of sort of A5. It's a small rule book, and then I happened to look at I think it was I can't remember, was it Black Powder or that's quite big compared to Space Weirdos. And then on Friday, Adam from Tabletop Minions did a new video. him and Vince Venturella have developed another new war game, and this one's about sort of alternate future Earth where you're using special ops squads to track down aliens, and it just got me thinking about how many rules are coming out these days. It seems to be on a sort of a weekly or monthly basis. Someone's talking about a new rule set or a new add-on or something. And I just thought we're lucky to live in a time where we've got such free reign on what games we play. So if you think, I want to play something with muskets. So you think of all the musket related tomfoolery you can get up to with all the different rule sets that are out there. World War II. You absolutely, and then you go to different scales. So it just got me thinking. We can pick and choose these days about what war games we invest in. So I would be very, very, very interested in both yourselves and the chat's opinion on what is it you look for. A new war game's just come out. What is it you look for in that rule book or that rule set or mechanics that gets you interested? Yes, I want to play that game.
Oof, that's tricky.
I mean, first and foremost, it's got to be just sound enjoyable to even get me get it onto a table. It's got to have something in it that it's got to be. Well, yeah, there you go. But even just as a rule book, it's got to do something to make you want to get it out, because you can buy a rule book, and unfortunately, some rule books do. And I'm not saying that makes bad games. I'm just saying some do suffer from like either poor layout or dry text or too many or not enough, and it makes you just not want it. So what makes me excited, does it sound, am I gonna have a good time first of all, is gonna be, that would be a big one for me.
I mean, obviously it's about the game at the end of the day, isn't it? Whether you're going to enjoy it, whether or not you want it to be a historically accurate game or just a load of fun, it's still got to be fun. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it, in my book? But I don't know. I mean, I pick up loads of rule books all the time. I a bit like figures, I just kind of get a bit excited and think, oh, that looks really interesting, get them, and don't play them all. Because I think for me, it has to be, is anybody I know going to take them on?
Yeah.
Because it's all very well, you have a rule set you really, really like. Unless they are absolutely monumentally great as a solo game, you're going to take them down the club, or you're going to have people around to play. And if nobody else particularly bothered about it, then
didn't that happen with you when you were originally going to play O Group? Was it 12 or 10 mil?
Yeah, but that wasn't the rules. That was more the scale.
More the scale
problem.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, that was just me being daft, really, and being attracted by the Victrix 12 mils because they were so nice. And actually, when I thought about it, and everyone said, "Oh yeah, I want to play that, but we'll play at 15 because we got loads of 15." I went, "Well, of course, that's easier then, isn't it?" So, and then you see all the Battlefront stuff and think, "Well, that's just as good." So yeah, I think that's very true. But I do also think it's the period gets me. Is generally, if I see a rule set for something unusual period wise, that will get my interest. If it's a period I'm interested in, I mean, then that will get me excited, and I'll buy it just to have a look at it. Oh, there you go. Don
said, yeah.
Because it's to me that's interesting, because you got how many rule sets in Napoleonics, how many Second World War rule sets are there out there, how many cowboy rule sets are there now? But if it's something you go, oh, didn't know about the Guatemalan, incident rules, then you think, oh, that's interesting. If it is something that interests you, if it's not, then that's no good either, is it?
I think, like I say, it's got to interest you. I remember when I was younger, and I'd not long been into gaming, and we used to go to our local club on a Tuesday. These older historical types were sort of trying to introduce us, to get us outside of playing 40k and Blood Bowl and stuff. And they showed they were playing this. I think it was I don't remember the name, but it was a modern war game set in sort of, it would have been 80s, 90s, and it was really small scale. I think it was 6 mil.
Mm-hmm.
I was set in the desert, and I'm surprised that after sitting through that for sort of 3-4 hours, I ever went back to historical gaming because I was bored rigid because there was nothing. When we played 40k, we were rolling dice and having fun, and it was these weren't they were consulting massive, great big bits of paper, huge bits of paper. Yeah. They were getting compasses out. There was dice, and it was like, and all they spent most of the time just talking, and it was like, who's going to roll some dice and shoot some things? That's what we're here for. And I mean, it must have been something they've been playing for years, and they all enjoyed it, but it bored me senseless. And it wasn't so. I mean, the thing is, it looked really nice.
Yeah. But that again is where it was amazingly accurate in terms of the penetration of the shot over range and all that. But is that necessarily what you want to play on a whatever night you're down the club? And when you just want to have a bit of a laugh, possibly. Well, some people do. Some people love it, and I have to say I've had my fair share of those over the years, those sort of games, and enjoyed them. But nowadays, I'm not so bothered about that.
I think for me, it's like I say, what you can get from it in an evening. I mean, I think there's this game that we didn't really participate. We got to roll a couple of dice. We're trying to tell us what they were doing and the core mechanics. But I mean, we'd have been 13, 14 at the time. Yes. I was like, I had no interest. I literally had no interest in, because for me it was dull. Yeah. There was no action. There was no verve. There was no oomph to it. Everyone was just, I don't know. And like I said, but if people want to enjoy games like that, fair play, knock yourself out. I'm not going to judge anyone, but it just wasn't. It wasn't for me.
If you're saying, I guess the thing is now the big push is for, and I've seen it a couple of times just now in the comments, is for innovation in a way, or some new mechanic, some new way of, dealing with command or fog of war, that kind of thing. That's always interesting. That always will, make you go and have a look. But I guess the main thing, one of the big things for me is combat mechanics, because it's a war game. Mm-hmm. You can have all the fun random events in the world, but it comes down to combat and how well is, I guess, combat simulated. Now you can have ones that go through, you roll to hit, then you roll to wound, then you roll to save, and then you roll for break test, and then you roll for rolling. But and then you have ones where you're keeping track of ammo, but it's some, and then they're very granular and they're good and they replicate what you want. But then you have other systems where it's all just down to one dice roll. Test to resolve, for example, is a good one of that. You roll your d12 and your opponent rolls a d12, and then you look at the difference, and that lists how many casualties you've got, what happens, who goes where. You cross-reference on a chart. So for me, I do really look at combat mechanics, because I was a big fan of the very old Warhammer Ancient Battles GW, cross-reference, strength versus toughness. It's 4 or more. I was a big fan of that kind of stuff, but I guess the sort of the black powder body of games, the Brick Priestley ones, I like you roll to hit and then you're rolling morale. You're not rolling armor. Everyone mistaken. It's morale. It's fun stuff. So it's just a 2-stage system, which was enough. You get a chance to save your men. There's something about that I like. There are a few systems where you don't do that. You don't roll saves, do you? But I want them to die because it's my fault. Because I've rolled really poorly. It was like in What a Cowboy. I didn't dodge a single shot. Miller was dodging, and then I was having to spot him again. I'm still not 100% sure we did that right. But I'll leave that to Robin. He was umpiring. It was. Do you know? I mean, it's got to be something with the combat mechanics to sort of to get me interested, because it's a war game.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's the same when, and I know you're not going to go off the but tabletop RPGs. Ultimately, you want to hit something with an axe. I want it to be. I want combat, the simulation of combat, to be interesting and fun, and to have some kind of reflection of the period that we're in, without it getting too granular for me. but I still want that flavor. I'm quite happy to just go with flavor of the periods. Like when it comes to the Wars of the Roses, I don't want a absolute simulation. I just want the flavor of the period to be in the rules, and people to kind of act and double cross and do things the way that they would. I'm not looking for some kind of deep, innovative.
It's interesting you say that, because Carl's just put, how much is a simulation rather than a game?
Yeah. And we come back to that a lot, don't we?
Yeah, and I imagine when you are designing a game, it is striking that balance. It's hitting that sweet spot over what's going to be enjoyable over what's going to be a simulation. I mean, to me, I can put it into sort of video game terms. Is you've got Call of Duty, which is you run around, you point your gun, you do your stuff. Does anyone remember Operation Flashpoint?
Yes.
Yes. So that was a simulation game. It wasn't a run and gun game. But again, they're both essentially, modern first person shooters. And I imagine if you try and get that into the sort of the tabletop wargaming thing, it's about striking that sweet spot of what's a game and what's simulation. But going back to the example I gave at our local club, that was 100% simulation. It wasn't a game. To me, it wasn't a game. It was simulating war on the tabletop, which when you're 13,
it's the last thing you want, really, isn't it?
It's no, not when you come from like 40k and Blood Bowl. You really don't want that.
But I do think also, I think one of the things I find quite confusing for my gaming habit is some days I absolutely love that kind of real stupid, kind of crazy game where everything goes absolutely haywire and you have no control over anything. And then other days I want that sort of almost formulaic thing. I know I'm going to go, then I'm going to move like we were talking about earlier about being able to move everything in one go and actually knowing that it's all done, like a bolt action game where, it's like, every troop is going to move. It's just how you do it. And I like that sort of thing from time to time as well. So it's difficult because, I like so many different types of games. It's very difficult to know exactly what. But I also think I get very frustrated with myself, and I think it's very much a wargaming trend, is never being satisfied with a rule set. There'll be a rule set out, and you love it, and you play it a lot, and then they'll either stop supporting it or they'll bring out somebody else will bring out another version. Everyone goes, oh, let's go and play that one. And you go, but actually I quite like that one. That was quite good. And then you never play it again.
Yeah.
And that really yeah.
That game changed. And I know we've discussed it ad nauseum on here about how many people when second edition dropped, a lot of people walked away, and I was one of them.
That would be one of them. Yep, no, I'm right with you there. Well, a good example, if we talk about it, I'm really interested by the game mechanics in Shatterpoint, the new Star Wars game. I watched a couple of videos of it because I realized that other than looking at the price point and the miniatures, I was doing the grumpy thing of not giving the game a chance. Going, oh, well, why can't I just use my Star Wars Legion figures? Why are they? Why are they starting another scale? And then, of course, you think about they're a new company. They've got the license. They've done Marvel Crisis Protocol. They don't just want to carry on Fantasy Flight's license and their game. They want to do their own thing. They want to make a skirmish one. And so I watched Grey Squadron Gaming. I don't know if you watch them, Steve. They do lots of X-Wing and Legion and stuff.
I have watched them in the past, yes.
Yeah, I quite like them. And I watched their sort of playthrough, and it was quite good because, of course, they were screwing things up the way that we, do. And what I liked, and it's not particularly innovative because I have seen others, is there's a damage tree. So say, and there's more to the game than this, but essentially, let's say I hit you for 5 damage. Yeah, you go along the tree. So like you go to the first box, and that says right, you do 2 damage. Then you move along to the second box. Maybe that pushes them, but then it branches, and you have a choice of either doing like more damage or maybe kicking them, or doing something else. And you kind of go along like a flow chart, and it branches off, and you get, depending on how many hits and that you've done, you get to like essentially create little combos. And I saw it in another game. I can't remember, Arena something. It was like a gladiator game with quite large scale miniatures, and it did something similar. And in this game as well, it looks like you charge up your force power, you like mana. I quite like resource, having the resource to spend, like, oh, I'm going to do this big spell or whatever, because I've got the option to do it, not just I'm rolling to get it off. I've actually got some kind of choice. And I quite like looking at the mechanics. Now, I'm not particularly Arena Rex. That was it. Cheers, Picker. But the model, I don't know if it's possible to get hold of the cards and just use the models that I've got for Legion. But I'm sure someone will make them available. But the mechanics interest me, and that's the thing. I couldn't give two hoots about the models personally, but I've now started looking at. I've now had to stop watching battle reports because I know that what will happen is we'll go to Boards and Swords at Crackon, and I'll buy it because it just looks fun. I find those guys, the game I watched, I'm probably doing a really bad thing of explaining this, but the game I watched really felt like, and I like Star Wars, did feel like a lightsaber fight between two characters because they were doing all these options and it seemed fairly straightforward about how they were doing them. It was like 2 damage, force push, and then it was just backwards and forwards because of the way it worked.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's because it's a skirmish war game rather than you couldn't do that in something that was. But it did make me feel. I wonder if those kind of damage trees could be applied to sort of mass battles in a way. Would it if you say you fired a rocket and would you or a tank at something and you actually hit it, actually have the option of, does it just do damage or does it set fire to something or does it, but then I don't know if that's again, now we're talking about introducing granularity into.
Yeah, you're getting too complicated again, aren't you?
Yeah, I know, exactly. So anyway, yeah, but that's an example. I was looking at those rules and I just thought, I was like, oh, these rules interest me. The models don't. I mean, obviously they come with it, but the rules, I was like, that's quite interesting. But yeah,
do you know what? It's interesting when you see, because I think I saw it on it was maybe on the Bolt Action page. I saw it on Facebook anyway, and somebody had taken Dead Man's Hand rules and they turned it into Dead Man's Garand, and it was World War II.
That's right.
And it's not some. I meant to look into it a bit more, but I think it's Dead Man's Garand. It's like somebody's developed Colt Action, which is Bolt Action, but in the American Civil War.
Huh.
So, and I mean, Alex, he plays Chain of Command with Star Wars.
Yeah, he also played What a Cowboy with Star Wars.
Yes, so there's definitely ways that you can. I mean, it's easily done. I mean, if you've got a strong core mechanic within a rule set, I think you can change that across to fit whatever period you like. That's why I love games like Space Weirdos, because the core mechanics are there. These are, and you've got so much free reign to. You could set it. I know it's a science fiction one. But you could set it in modern. You could do like a pulp gangster one. There's so much scope there for taking the rules. So it's just fallen off.
Is that the giant just fallen off?
For some reason, a tub of Vallejo Desert Ding has just launched itself off my desk, and I don't know why.
Oh, ghost! It's a ghost.
It's very spooky. But yeah, as I was saying with it's taking an existing rule set. I think it is popular. It's something I like to do. And again, Colt Action, Dead Man's Garand. It's
Why do that?
Robin, sorry, Don. I'd be crying if it was the Huey. I really would be. But no, it's a weird one. The whole. I mean, when you see a core mechanical core rule that you think you can sort of shift across. No, it is quite interesting.
Do you think? So again, sort of being the old grey hairs here. Back in the day, because there weren't so many rule sets out there, if you wanted to do a rule set, wanted to do a period, you're particularly interested in a period that didn't have any rules, slightly more obscure, something like. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but it was you're playing Napoleonics and you really liked American Civil War, and there wasn't a rule set available because they just didn't make them. So you adapted them, and that was a very common thing to do. You just took the rules and mussed around with the mechanics and everything else. Nowadays, because you can go on all these free site or these download sites and download a set of rules for pretty much every conceivable period you could ever want. Do you think there's less kind of adaptation of the rules? Because whenever I see people mucking around with rules, it tends to be heading into a sort of sci-fi or a fantasy kind of arena with a historical rule set, like you're talking about with Alex and his Star Trek stuff. You know, do you think you see as much anymore? I don't know. I'm intrigued.
I don't know. I mentioned it to my mate before because we were talking about Xenos Rampant, and he's currently developing a sort of a sci-fi project, an army that you'll be able to use across multiple rule sets. So you can use Xenos Rampant if you wanted to do. Again, it's just quite coincidental that Jonas has put how's Ken's bolter action developing. But again,
we'd
could
like
use
to know
it
that as well.
We'd like to know. You could use it in a science fiction version of bolt action. You could reduce the figures and play space weirdos. And I think these days, rules are being made for figures rather than figures being made for rules. I think companies are going, do you know what? We can just release rules because we know that some people have got, Dom, I'm not looking at you. I've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of figures knocking around, different periods, you know, modern science fiction, fantasy. So all we need to do is develop a rule set, a rule book, and there we go. Knock yourself out. And even scales don't matter these days. I mean, I've been following the Joy of Wargaming, and he's been doing an awesome 15 mil campaign using he's using Necromunda, but he's also using that book, the science fiction war game scenarios, and he's doing it all in 15 mil. And it's been interesting seeing that. And again, who'd have thought 15 mil Necromunda in space using this book as to generate scenarios? But it's been really, really good. He's running a campaign, and it just goes to show you, and he's using two separate rule books, or two separate publications, and a scale that Necromunda wasn't really built for. I just think it's a fantastic way of using what's out there, using what figures you've got, using books out there, rule sets, and just mashing them together and just seeing what happens. I just think it's a perfect example of that playing out.
Are there too many rule sets, though? I mean, should we just have, one for armor, one for fantasy, and just everyone adapt them according to that?
No, it sounds too.
But
why do we need so many? That's the converse of that.
Because variety is the spice of life.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I feel like you're saying that because that's what Ken would say. He's not.
You're channeling your inner Ken.
Oh God, no! Don't say that.
like one base size across all war games.
No, I genuinely it interests me because we all have rule sets that we love, and we really enjoy playing with, and sometimes you'll stretch them a little bit to the almost breaking point. But then there's other things you just will not, places you will not go with them. And I was intrigued me. But is there a rule set that you could think, I could play 90% of the periods and armies that I love with this rule set?
So
I don't need to do much.
In that vein, what period? Because I think I mentioned this a couple of months back. What period do you think has got the most rules available for it?
World War II and Napoleonic.
Yeah, Napoleon. I've got to say Napoleonic.
It's got to be one of those two. I suppose ancients are probably in there as well somewhere, depending if you count medievals in there.
But the thing is, this is where it gets non-specific, though, doesn't it? Because of the tactics in Napoleonic War. Napoleonic War. Ancient rule sets, they cover 3,000 years of history, don't they? Whereas Napoleonic covers like 40 years, it's zero, it's kind of like zeros in on it, doesn't it? The musket period, we talked about this before. So when people, I'd say there's less general rule sets for the medieval ancient one, because people try to put it all in one. That here you can use your Romans the same way I'm using my 100-year war French. Here's your variety of variety of choice.
There's Matt with a sickle. It's true though.
Oh, that tickled me. It really did. But do you think sometimes a period can have too many rule books?
Definitely.
I think a game can have too many rule books and too many expansions.
See, that was going to be my next point. Would you rather you get your book and you're done, or like with Bolt Action, you get your book, you get your army book, and you might get a campaign book, but you don't need book after book after book after book. You don't need to buy books. I mean, I'm not.
It's hard. I like campaign books. I feel like you should be able to. See, that's really hard because the thing is, like with Bolt Action, with World War II, there's simply so much stuff that you can't fit it all in. And then almost, the argument would be, and I'm using Warlord's example here, but like Hail Caesar, there's again so many things. So what they did was they put a general list in for light, medium, heavy infantry, like cavalry, medium, and then you've got the specifics. I personally prefer having less volumes to flip through, but that's mainly because of convenience. I like campaigns. I like like the Ostfront book or like the pint-sized campaigns from Lardy's, that kind of stuff. That's quite hard. I quite like it when people do things like these Soldiers of Napoleon that they've just done, and you get like little bonus cards and things. But that's just me being the novelty of stuff. What about you, Dom? What do you prefer? Just everything in one place?
Do you know, I actually prefer different editions of things because I think that gives variety to the game for me. So look at Black Powder, for instance. You've got all those different. Well, you've got not enough campaign books in my mind, but it means if you wanted to play Napoleonic, Peninsula, you've got a whole set of army lists and rules specific to that. And then if you wanted to play Waterloo, it's a different set. I wish they did an Austerlitz one and earlier war ones and all that kind of stuff. Because to me, that's the nub of the thing. I want to be able to go, right, for this particular set of the period, the Prussian infantry can only go in line because that was their doctrine. They didn't do it the other way. Now, I know you can create your own rules for that. I can hear Martin shouting that in my ear. But it's kind of nicer to have it all there. So I actually don't mind different books.
Yeah.
Although, I guess, I guess it depends. Again, it depends how you're using the thing. The complication then, because the Bolt Action one becomes very, very challenging because how many bloody books are there now?
Yeah, I know that there is. But I mean, when you're playing a game, you got your rule book, which if you play Bolt Action a lot, you don't really need to consult the rule book too much because a lot of it is just in it goes into your brain like a sponge. But you do need your army books, your campaign book. I don't know. I honestly don't mind it. I don't. I mean, to me, two books to play a game. And some people, people just. As far as Bolt Action goes, I know people they collect whenever a book comes out, they buy the book. Dom, I think you've done that.
I do. I've got them all. Because I actually think they're interesting reads. I enjoy the books.
But people, and I'm not lumping Dom with this, but people do that. I know with Warhammer, and they do that with all of those books because of the lore and everything, and then you usually find out there's an FAQ. I maybe it's just me. I feel like there's less FAQs in historical gaming. That's my personal feeling. Unless unless a rule book goes out with loads of misprints. Warlord. I feel. I don't know. Yeah, there's sometimes you find little rule updates in one expansion that's came out, but then you'll play against someone who hasn't read that rule. So, for example, Clash of Eagles has the rule for forming square as an order test.
Yeah,
but that's not in the main rule book or in Albion Triumphant Volume 1 or 2. And I don't actually own that, but I prefer it, so we play it. But I only found out about that rule when I played against someone who happened to be. We were just doing a Russians versus British game. That was actually down the club, and I charged him. He rolled an order test to form square. I was like, what is this? And I like that, but I wouldn't have known about that at all. So sometimes I feel like
But that is the challenge, isn't it? Is you've hit the nail right on the head, because that's what happens in bolt action all the time. You turn up for a game and you want to have a game against somebody who you don't play that often with, and if you haven't sort of specifically said we're going to take core rule book or we're going to play this scenario book, you suddenly discover that your opposition has got something that you've never even seen before, and it's like, oh my god, how do I play against that?
I see that in tournaments, and as someone who doesn't play in tournaments and never has, you see people saying, we're taking list. Essentially, they list what you're
allowed.
They list the lists you're allowed to use, and then they don't. I'm not be looking at it going, what? And then you start to feel, am I disadvantaged because I don't have these books? Because I still build my I've still got the very first Armies of Great Britain book for bolt action. Is that still the current book?
Yeah,
has there been a new?
Yeah, it is. The only book they updated was the German one. That was when they released Second Ed Bolt Action. The only army book that got an update as well was Armies of Germany, but every other book prior to Second Ed, still valid.
So no, I just find it interesting, and then you'll play a campaign, and then there'll be specific rules. For example, the airborne in the campaign, when you're playing on that, they get, maybe they're tougher or because they're low on ammo. So I actually quite like that rule. I'd like to apply it across the board, but I don't feel it's hard when you've got lots of different rule books. I find it harder to find a game because you've got to rely on the other person either having those rules, having access to all those rules as well, or playing enough times against you that they've learned it. Does that make sense?
See, an example of that is that stopped me from getting into Necromunda and Kill Team, because there's a lot of books and seasons. I was like, hold on a second.
I've only just got my head around seasons because I basically was asking the guy in Games Workshop, and then I walked away with this bloody box of dinosaurs. I've kind of got my head around that now. It's an interesting model. I kind of get it. I suppose it's a way of, obviously they can flog more stuff, and you have an idea of the releases and like a release schedule. But yeah, more and more people seem to be doing that kind of thing.
That brings me on to, and again, it's Games Workshop related, Combat Patrol. So that's something they're going to be focusing more on 10th edition, where you buy a box and that's it. Box of figures, that's it. That's all you have. I think it's about 500, 600 points. But you buy the box and that's it. You don't have to buy any of the figures. It's just all in one box.
Really? That's a real right of them. Blimey.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you want to play bigger games of 40k, you have to buy more figures. But for playing Combat Patrol, it's just straight out of the box, and you get some good savings. And I've got to admit, the Adeptus Mechanicus one, I am very, very, very interested in.
What do you think of the Adeptus Mechanicus, Dom?
I think it's his best work myself. I particularly liked his first album.
Oh, that's just reminded me. Sorry, I just say John Blanche retired, didn't he, this week?
Yes, I saw that.
John Blanche retired.
God, the old school. I mean, Jervis Johnson retired last year. Now John Blanche. God,
I saw a picture of Jervis Johnson at the Perry's place on Facebook this last week.
Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, there's nothing else to say. I didn't know what to say.
I was waiting for the punchline there.
No, it was on Facebook. I'm still waiting for our invite, which has probably been rescinded ever since.
Probably has, as Miller.
Yeah, cheers.
Well, didn't Jervis Johnson and the Perrys write that?
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? The free one, the free Black
Valiant
Napoleon.
and something else.
Yeah, Valor and Fortitude.
Valor and Fortitude.
Yeah.
That's the fella. Yeah.
Valor and Fortitude. Yeah.
They did.
Craig is joined from the Philippines. 4 a.m. couldn't sleep, so why not listen to us?
Why not?
Is that till you fall asleep? We'll do our best.
Yeah.
We'll do our best.
We're rapidly approaching 9:15, and not being Ken, I think it's time for the news. Have we got news?
Yeah, you mean because we're not sending messages in the private chat going, do the news,
Ken,
do the
bloody news, Ken. Right, okay. Everyone on standby for the video. Do apologise.
The sinister news.
The sinister one. I never gets any less ominous, that music.
It certainly does.
No, it's just it's amazing. Who found that? Was that Ken or was
that was Ken? That was Ken.
I'd love to know what he put in the description.
His search history must be horrendous. I saw a couple of little bits. So Ragnarok Miniatures are going to be going to Kickstarter to release more Viking characters. They put some up. I don't know how many Vikings is enough, but I don't think we've actually discovered the number yet.
No, clearly not. So their Gripping Beast took them over, didn't they? Was it Gripping Beast took on Ragnarok? Well, am I confusing them with somebody else?
Did.
I really like those figures.
They're quite cool, aren't they?
They're very nice figures.
They're very realistic looking. I'll give them that.
The Piano Miniatures has posted up preview the Danu campaign.
Oh yes.
Now there were a lot of pictures, so I only got one. Can you tell why I wanted to bring this one up?
Because there's a little drummer boy.
There's a little drummer boy.
I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing.
I like that. Just for Steve. What's ace is that obviously because this is 3D printed, we can just keep 3D printing these and mailing them to Steve. So it would cost about 10p to keep printing them, and just each week sending them to him.
Send another one.
I mean, eventually, what would happen? I mean, I imagine Royal Mail would never get to your house, but I'd just like to think that there's this massive pile of them outside your door.
Why should they break the habit of a lifetime, though?
Exactly. And then next up, Brigade Games has done some 1812 miniatures.
Nice.
So here we've got Sir Isaac. Now I've only got a couple of them on here, but there are loads online for you to go and have a look at. So I put these up. Look, wait, no, that's Colonial Marines. I thought these.
Yeah, cool. I think we talked about these last week. These are Paul's. Yeah. Paul Hicks did all these. They're lovely.
They are nice.
And again, I just wanted to put them up because there's two drums.
It's double drums.
You two are a pair of sadists. You know that. You'll just see me suffering my drummer. French drummer related.
I've just stuck together a dinosaur holding a drum. All right.
Oh my goodness! I think I was right. Gripping Beast are selling Ragnarok to allow Colin to concentrate on sculpting. Okay. I thought I'd read that somewhere. Yeah, they picked up a few things.
Yeah, that is actually all I saw.
I saw a couple of bits.
I saw Royal Mail are doing Warhammer stamps.
Warhammer stamps.
That confused me because I went in there to post something. I was like, why is this whole why is all these, there's gonna be some old lady in front of me getting a pension and then putting a
can you imagine? Oh my lord.
Martin, did you get the Iron Maiden ones?
No, I didn't in the end. I've kind of gone cold turkey on buying Iron Maiden stuff because I feel like the probably £10,000 I've spent on previous stuff and tickets to gigs has probably been enough. If anyone's got a set they'd like to give me, that would be nice.
Warlords have done some more Victory at Sea stuff. So they got Ajax and German cruiser coming out. They have so many ships in this range now; it's extraordinary. And they've also. Sorry,
we never got around to playing this.
I played a couple of games. I actually quite like it. It's quite a good game. Game. Yeah,
but yeah, the range is
huge. And there's a whole load of support ships, so troop ships and a liner for the different scenarios you can play. So they're all available now, all those 6 new ships. I think pretty much once a month or so they seem to put out something new for the range. Avert your eyes, Steve. This is another load of creatures that Michael is working on for another Kickstarter. Sorry, it's not a terribly great picture because he didn't allow sharing from the Facebook, so I just stole it. But they're really nice. So there's a whole new range he's working on, which is going to have some kind of theme. And he was asking for suggestions on what people should sculpt. And he's to be fair to him, he said probably 95% of them and ignore, but it might be worth something. So they're coming out. No idea when they'll be coming along, but he's working on those. And I know we've talked about this, and I think people have seen it at shows, but just to say it's gone on pre-order.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Plastic wagon.
I've got some pictures of it.
Yeah,
not the.
It's lovely, isn't it?
So it comes in a couple of variants. There you go. Yeah, you got that one.
Robin postured the idea that it would do for the Anglo-Zulu War as well.
I think you can do it for virtually any period. To be fair, that would work for a lot of periods. You took the frame off, it could be, and obviously the crew differently. The family driving it, you could turn that into an Ancients or a Napoleonic if you wanted.
You could even World War II that.
Yeah.
Is it me, or are the horses a bit small, or are they ponies, or is it just the angle of the photo? I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, they look bigger there. They
look bigger in that one. It's probably just
the angle. Just the angle. Yeah. Storm still says, "How about a badger hit by a car?" I mean, I'm with you with the back all the way on the badgers, mate. Not a fan.
I think this week is the week I finally order another Burrows and Badgers warband. I've been putting it off, but I might do it this week.
Do it.
And you know what? The best thing about them is there's no French drummers.
There you go. That's why don't you suggest that to him? A drummer boy, a stoat drummer boy, in full regalia.
Do you know what? Whenever anyone mentions stoats and Burrows and Badgers, it just reminds me of Bottom. He's using the Lonely Hearts column. He's talking about stoaty fox.
I haven't watched Bottom in years.
Oh, that's such a great program.
I haven't watched it in
James, no, I didn't say another Hue. We had although I was actually telling my mate the other night. I said I would make another one. I've not finished the first one yet, but I would, because there's so many variants. You can have a standard version, of the M60 version. You've got ones with mini guns and massive machine guns. You've got a medevac one. You've got a search and rescue one. So many different options. I'm actually really looking forward to making the base for it as well.
So many ways to send your blood racing.
Sly old foxy stones.
Oh, geez.
Oh, right. Okay, we're not gonna derail.
Robin's got it. A caterpillar one-man marching band.
Oh, awesome! Love it.
Oh,
quick, send Michael a message now. We could crowdsource it, couldn't we? We could all crowdsource it to get something.
No, I don't want to paint anything. When was the last drummer? Actually, I've been painting drummers quite a bit because I've been doing. The actual last 28mm drummer was probably a Landsknecht one. Oh, I was saying last week. I don't know what happened. It was the weather, or I opened my Landsknecht starter army again.
Did you close it really quickly afterwards?
No, I really want to paint some more.
What's wrong with you?
I'll start quoting Bottom without an end. No, I painted, I think, half of the starter box. But I now use them for Warlords of Erewhon. They're troops from my Night Warband. But I've seen quite a lot of people put. I mean, it was Simon last week when he did that. The Landsknechts for Nevermind the Billhooks, and I enjoyed painting Landsknechts as sort of deviant and mad as that sounds. I did enjoy painting them. I just didn't paint them very fast or in great volumes.
But they did look nice, to be fair, they did look nice.
I've only had the box for 2.5 years.
Yeah, come on, yeah. Barely matured in the cupboard by then.
It is. But I think I did half. But I also made that. I made a command base, and I kit bashed Georg von Frundsberg, the father of the Landsknecht.
Yeah, you did.
So I think I've got a pike block, handgunners. I've got bits and pieces. I'm quite chuffed with the amount that I did. But I don't know whether I want to head down that particular rabbit hole again. That's Rich Clark's fault. Remember we had him on the podcast. and he was talking about he'd been researching Landsknecht history and military operations. Yeah. And 3 days later, I had a box of Landsknechts, and then 2 weeks later, I had the starter army. I'm not easily influenced or anything, but yeah, much at all. Okay, so while we're sort of getting towards the latter half, what in a war game do you actively avoid? Let's flip it round. Rather than what you'd look for, what you don't look for. What's something that's in a game that you think, absolutely not, I will not be playing that game?
Centimeters.
That's really difficult.
It's difficult. That is difficult.
I can't think of anything that I would just go no to. As long as they've got figures. No, because I really like so many different types. Points. Yeah, that's you. I was about to say. I think.
So, Dol, have you just admitted that you're open to playing turn at 28?
No. No. I did not. Roll that back, and you can tell.
That's quite a bit.
Do you know, I would. In all
Alex, do I know? Sorry,
Oh,
I was going to say, do I not need to watch his video now? I've got that lined up for after this, Alex. Have you just summarised it in that comment?
Yes.
Do I not need to watch your video now?
So that whole thing, there is the. Well, do we want to talk about that now? Because I thought that's an interesting video going around because it kind of is pertinent around I go, you go, and how people. I know Alex hates those kind of rules, but for me. See, I like those sort of rules as well, but I also like the random ones as well. So it's like there really genuinely wouldn't be much that I'd say absolutely no to. And I would play turnip. I just wouldn't create a turnip force.
You saw how much fun Sean had playing turnip. He was grinning like
but he's a madman. He's an absolute madman. I'm not doing anything just because he says it's great. He's absolutely insane.
Can I just put this comment up? This is unbelievable. Okay, I was mentioning cult action before, and Philip wrote the rules.
Oh, really? Oh, well,
Philip. Philip, that's actually made my night. Cheers, mate. I'm really chuffed by that. I never actually got round to playing cult action. I had plans to buy that Battlefield in a box. No, the Perry's one.
Miller's going to be buying that apparently, so we can ask him to. Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Oh, right.
I don't know if he's succumbed yet.
But I'd read through the lists and the additional rules. I thought it was absolutely fascinating, mate. I really thought it was just a great way of taking bolt action and expanding on it. And I think cult action was just inspired. That's really cool. That's actually made my night. Cheers, Philip.
Brilliant.
I don't know if there's anything that would put me off. I don't know.
Overly competitive rules.
I've played overly competitive rules.
Yeah,
War Machine was really competitive. There was a whole page dedicated to basically telling you, like, you will lose if you're not competitive.
This is it was like this is how you play. You have to go out to completely annihilate the opposition. Did it say like play with your balls out or play balls?
It was play like you've got a pair. Play like you've got a pair.
Yeah.
I don't think they're allowed to say that anymore. Is there anything that would put me? I guess too many. So I enjoyed. I haven't played it for a very long time. Infinity. I did enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
There are so many skills and different levels of skills. You have like martial arts level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, and if you've got martial arts level 5, fighting against someone who's got martial arts level 3, that means you can use martial arts level 2. Yeah. So I think things that would put me off would be things like that, like like just far too many special rules in a bid to make things interesting. That would put me off.
Craig's just reminded me one that would get me. DBM, that kind of thing. DBM, where you need geometry. I think those rules just drive me insane. When they're all just like little square blocks, and you have to and it's like, no, don't like that. No, not mine. So they put me off. I don't like them.
I mean,
your mum. Oh man,
Your mum?
I thought he said.
Put your glasses on, Grandad.
Well, we read Vicar City Millivision's Welcome to Club. I thought he said James Longstreet is your mum. Sorry. It's like, what's he on about?
Here's an interesting one from James. 12 pages of charts.
It wouldn't necessarily put me off if they were done not in a gratuitous way, if you know what I mean. I mean, if you literally had to go working through every table, then it would. But if it was, I don't know, if it's part of a kind of a, I don't know, that wouldn't necessarily just completely put me off.
Okay, what about then? Because Martin just mentioned War Machine.
God. I used to love War Machine.
I used to love it. Me and my mate Pete, we used to play like most Saturdays, and we'd get sort of 3 or 4 games in 2 or 3 hours, because it's such a violent, fast-paced, awesome game. But that got me thinking, how much additional stuff? So with War Machine, you've got a card for each jack or unit, and you mark off the damage on it. How much? What's your level of additional stuff? Sort of housekeeping, accessories. Yes.
Optional or
no? You have to play the game. So like with War Machine. So with War Machine, those cards in your little things with your water pens. You needed them. Without those, you couldn't play the game.
No, you can. I mean, it's either that or the army book. But then they then release the cards in there, and then they release the updates where you have to buy the whole card. I don't mind unit cards. I quite like unit cards, and I've created unit cards for games that don't supply unit cards, so you don't have to go leafing through army books. I guess I think it's almost like I don't mind like one thing. Is that what a cowboy? We were talking about it beforehand. You've got a character sheet. That's enough. I wouldn't want character sheets and then a load of extra things that you need to get on top of that as well. Saga is probably at the limit. You have a battle board that you need, special dice that you need, special rule. I mean, the rulers aren't special. It's like a 2-inch, a 4-inch, a 6. But the way the game sort of plays, and then you have tokens as well. So Saga's probably at the limit of what I would, the amount of stuff that I would say I'm willing to.
Is that a cost thing as well?
I think it's just a case of me just not losing it all when I want to play a game. Because, you don't want to play. It's like, if you want to go and play a game and you've got all your bits and bobs, and then if you can't find your battle boards, well, you can't play the bloody game.
No, true.
Or if you can't find your, you can obviously play if you can't find your ruler, but I guarantee you'll spend half an hour looking for it rather than just getting a tape measure.
Yeah, true.
I think it's like my sort of upper limit was X-Wing, with the cards and the upgrades and the tokens.
Oh god, yeah.
So you only had like a small bit on your table to organize this stuff. Now I'm quite an organized person, so mine was always like OCD level of just organization city. I remember playing one bloke at a tournament, and I'm not joking, it was like he just got all his stuff and threw it on the table, and he was leaning over, and he'd stand up and be tokens and cards stuck to his arm. I was like, how can you play like this? But that's my limit, especially if you're running 3 ships in a list, it's not too bad. But if you're running sort of 5-6 ships, you've got 6 cards. You've got the shield tokens. You've got all your action tokens. You've got your range rules. You've got all the upgrades as well. Upgrade cards as well.
That's a Fantasy Flight game, and their bread and butter is tokens, because it's really more of a. I'll probably get it shot down, but it's more of a. They come from board games, and you have a lot of things. But you can buy MDF trackers for each ship, couldn't you? With little sockets for the upgrade cards, and things like that. That's when it becomes a bit unmanageable.
It's like I know it's a board game, but the Dark Souls board game. So for every character, you've literally got a card about that big, and on there you've got where you put your cards. So what you're holding in the left hand, in your right hand, in your backpack, your armor, your helmet. You've got all your Estus tokens. You've got your souls, and you track your skill progress by using little wooden cubes.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a gorgeous looking game. It's just fantastic looking. But on the flip side, you go to Hero Quest, and you got a piece of paper. So that's all it is.
I remember opening Fantasy Flight games, sort of 10 years ago, maybe, and opening going, "Oh, amazing! Loads of tokens! Oh, brilliant! Look at all these tokens!" Now I would look at that and go, "Oh God,
tokens!
I've got to punch all those out." I've got to find somewhere to put them in and separate them. Yeah,
people get very excited about lots of tokens, or either love them or hate them, or lots of markers or things like that. But doesn't that just allow a bit of opportunity to do some sort of customization and do some little sort of vignettes to, you know what I mean? It's it's like casualty figures you love with your games, Martin. You put down all the dead men, which. So I still use tokens because I find it easier. But it's that kind of thing. Is for some people I see loads of people say, "Oh, I don't like it because it's got tokens all over the thing," and then you see other people go, "Well, I'm just going to turn it into this."
No, it is that is a really good point. There is the opportunity to do that. I think I'm just a bit sick. I'm just like seeing mounds of dead across the battlefield. You're absolutely right. I love integrating, people who can integrate things like disorder or casualties or objectives, or I'm doing one at the minute, a token, a completely unnecessary token that isn't even really a token. I don't know about you, but in games like Black Powder Hail Caesar and Piker Shot, you need to remember who won the last round of combat.
Yes.
I always forget. Unless it's playing against Miller because he hasn't got anything left on the table. I'm still bitter about Friday night. All right. But I'm trying to. I was like, what can I do? So I thought. I'm using some light horsemen to have them behind the unit that's lost the last turn. So they're poking them. They're poking them back forward.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're going to be poking.
I just got a little black arrow token that just points the direction of whoever won it. That's all I've got. Just got that's fine. That's my whole idea away. Now I just seem to fool. But it's a good point. It is a good opportunity to do those kind of things. But there are games where there's just so goddamn many. There are some that are just ridiculous, the amount of tokens there are, and sort of details you have to keep, which is fine if it's a small game, but when you're playing a big game and you've got to keep a record of every bit of damage done to your ship or whatever.
I know it's more of a board game, but Undaunted Normandy, you've got tokens and cards, but they're kept to an absolute minimum, and there's no clutter, and it's such a well presented game as well. Undaunted, it's just so. But you don't get overwhelmed with tokens and cards, and you got different piles, but and it just works. And I think that's definitely the sign of a good game where it's card and token focused, but it's kept to a minimum. There's nothing just sort of shoehorned in there.
Can I just throw something out there? Now, maybe I'm misremembering here, but I don't remember Warhammer and 40k needing tokens beyond maybe a little dice to track wounds on multi-wound characters. Is that still a thing? Do they need lots of tokens now?
The only token...
It kind of seems like the thing that GW... I'm not saying that they, a mercenary company, but I don't see token sets. Am I missing that? Do I just not see them in the shop?
I don't think... I mean, Second Ed had tokens, so you had, Overwatch.
Dark Millennium. I remember the big thing.
But I think after that, they moved away from tokens. Space Marine had tokens because that's how you issued your orders, first fire, advanced charge, etc. But I think they've moved away from that. Second Ed, I mean, it had tokens, but they weren't onerous. There wasn't that. It wasn't, the battlefield wasn't cluttered with tokens. It was just a token next to a unit or a heavy weapon. He's jammed or what have you. But no, I don't. I mean, you think? I mean, I'll be the first to admit I'm not really conversant with anything after second ed 40k related. But
no, I maybe I assumed that there would be Infinity, loads of tokens, loads and loads and loads of tokens. Batman, I played that. There were there were tokens in that. Oh Jesus, there's I'm just looking around at different rule sets, and sorry.
Just wound trackers, that's it. So they flog things like town marker lights and genius to ambush, but they aren't necessary. And even things like Blood Bowl, no real tokens in that. I mean, you got your little dugout. That's where you control your turns, and you put your injured players in there. But yeah, not much in the way of tokens.
Yeah, that's true. Alex put loads of tokens in Shatterpoint. I did see. Yeah, but I think from what I saw, a lot of it's off-ball. About no, it's I don't know, but yeah, it's weird, isn't it? What we find acceptable or unacceptable in gaming. But I don't think, back to what you said, I don't think there's anything that would put me off trying a game. Although I did see one in there. I agree, it's like a poorly laid out rule book with no examples. If it's just a wall of text, that would probably put me off.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you had friends that were playing it and they walked you through it, you probably still would play it, wouldn't you? It's only the fact it's difficult when you're picking up a rule set yourself. If you haven't got examples.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. I hate learning new rules. I absolutely. That's why when I picked up Space Weirdos, I was like, "Oh, what's that? You've learnt the rules in 30 minutes. Can't go wrong with that." And that's literally what it was in 30 minutes. And it's got a good core mechanic. The combat's brilliant. I didn't have to sit down and invest a couple of days into reading the rule book, which I don't know. I can't stand. And maybe it's because I'm impatient or getting old, but I don't want to spend 2 or 3 days reading a rule book. I don't know what it is. It's just, but Space Weirdos. Yeah, it's fine.
There's I think you might have a couple of players for that, by the way.
For Space Weirdos.
Yes.
Right. So what I'm planning to do I might either do a video about it because I might want to do that, or just put a post on the Facebook group just to explain exactly what Space Weirdos is. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing everything. So it's only played on 2 foot by 2 foot board, 3 to 4 figures each side, quite a bit of terrain, but it's brutal, and the games don't really last more than half an hour because normally everybody's dead by then. Because it really is. It's such a fun but brutal game. But yeah, if anyone wants to play Space Weirdos at CrackCon, yeah, feel free. It's a strange game. Dom, you have to play, mate. It's only half an hour.
Yeah, right.
But I'm planning on buying some Stargrave and Mantic figures to bring some strange war bands or gangs with me. Does Space Weirdos have a turnip expansion? No, but I probably could make one.
Oh my lord!
Yeah, down for Space Weirdos at CrackCon. Rich, I won't bring my CrackCon dice this time. I'll bring regular dice. Because we all know what happened last time. Rich wouldn't let my dice anywhere near him in case they caught the stink of crappy dice rolling. Right, we're almost at 9:45. So let's look at some nice photographs. What I'm not going to say is we didn't get to this point till 9:57 last week.
Well, who was driving last week, I wonder?
Sorry, Ken. I know you're a bit busy, mate. Right, so good mix of everything this week. Some just some brilliant stuff. And again, I apologize, we can't show everyone's work. But here we go. So starting off with a bit of a Western theme from David. Here's some Pinkertons.
Ooh, that guy in the middle in the yellow is wicked. He is great.
He looks evil, doesn't he? Like you wouldn't trust him as far as you could throw him.
Nope.
Who makes them? Which are they artisan
or a foundry?
I think they are Great Escapes. They're one of the newer gangs, aren't they?
Oh, really?
I think
they're not the actual. Yeah, they're not. They might be. They're not the actual Pinkerton gang. Because I've seen the Pinkerton gang. And
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah.
Many
Okay.
times to the
I
Pinkerton
got it
gang.
wrong then. Yeah, okay.
Speaking of the Pinkertons, just a slight tangent. Did anyone hear about a certain wargaming company sending out the Pinkertons to someone's house?
See, someone else told me about this.
Absolutely,
Robin told me
madness. Such a completely doolally story. I didn't think it was real, but it was. Sending the Pinkertons out to someone's house. Yeah.
You're going to have to elaborate for Dom, I think.
So essentially, Magic the Gathering, some guy, I think he did a pre-order and he sent him the wrong cards. And he did like an unboxing on YouTube of cards that shouldn't have been released. So Wizard of the Coast sent the Pinkertons round to his house to retrieve them.
I didn't even know they were actually still a thing. I just didn't. I like to think it was like the scene in Pale Rider with them all just lined up outside his house.
No, brilliant! I was right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, but they are.
I mean, but it's their fault for sending out the wrong thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but send the Pinkertons round.
Wizards of the Coast are evil too.
Apparently, someone who works for Wizards of the Coast used to work for the Pinkertons, so I imagine he's got quite good connections there. Honestly, I just thought I've got to watch this video because this just sounds completely cracked. It really does.
Jeez, there's some weird people out in the world.
Anyway, moving on from the Pinkertons, is Andy from Hobby Support Group with some lovely,
very nice
allied armor. Look at those.
Ooh, that's a good old collection.
Oh, and Dom, do you know what the best thing about them is?
Battlefront.
The base.
They are properly done. That's what I mean. They're properly done.
Oh, you just want to see them on the tabletop. Absolutely.
You do.
I work for the Pinkertons. Bloody hell, Don.
I kind of want to ask more questions.
Yeah, but we're on my channel, so.
I just have questions.
I have questions.
Do you know we so need to get a couple of whiskies in with Don at some point because he's got some stories, hasn't he? That man.
Right, the next one has been responsible for me pursuing a project that I didn't want to pursue.
Go on then.
And he's down at his 10 mil.
Oh, look at those.
Because every time he posts these, I'm like, what I want to do is take my Walls of Erewhon armies at 28 and convert them to 10 mil. These are just absolute. These are so good. I have no words for how good these are. I mean, you wouldn't think they were 10 mil, would you?
There's some cracking stuff online, Steve, for 10 mil fantasy, you know.
No.
Wow, they're amazing, aren't they?
They are amazing. Dom, will you be branching out into 10 mil fantasy?
Let me think for a second. No.
Oh, the most predictable answer of the night goes to Dom. Right, okay. So something a bit more up your Watling Street is.
I see what you've done there. Very good.
So I did that. Hey. These are from Daniel. These are from some Roman Praetorian Guard, and they are stunning. Absolutely,
they are the dog's doodahs. They
stunning.
Wow.
Yeah, they just pop, don't they? They absolutely pop. Are they multi-based as well? They are. They're multi-based. We'll put in a
yeah. I think they might be. They might be in fours. Actually,
yeah, that's what I thought they were. Yeah,
they're in fours. Wowza.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely stunning stuff. If you're on the Facebook group, check out Daniel's stuff because he cranks out some really, really awesome historicals. Up next is James. He's new to the Facebook group and he posted a bunch of stuff that he's been working on. Martin. Oh, yeah, I can imagine they were, Daniel. They look absolutely fantastic, mate. Just so good. Thanks for posting them. They were absolutely brilliant. Completely out of my league.
Me too.
So yeah, James is new to the Facebook group and he posted a variety of stuff he's working on. But Martin, this one should leap out to you.
Yeah.
Da-da!
See, the dinosaur riding a bigger dinosaur. Who knows why? But it's just so cool.
It is. They are.
I don't know. It's just something. I don't know. It's just the toys. I just want to paint a dinosaur. But look at the size of it compared to the one in the background.
I know.
That's what I'm doing at the minute. I'm looking at these things going.
You can go down to the local toy store and pick up a dinosaur and then just dry brush that. That'd be fantastic. Why do you know? Come on.
It's lovely work. I really like the stuff and work on the scales. It's really cool.
Yeah, cheers for posting those games.
Model.
He did it. It was a wide range of sort of fantasy and historical as well. So yeah, really good stuff. Right. So I know James mentioned last week about Ian from Boards and Swords, our sponsor, was putting on a huge game of the Windy Boat game on the 1st of June.
Yes.
And, I only knew that Insanity was going to follow, and here's a shot from the game. Just look at that.
Yes. Now I'm going to assume, and I might be wrong. Is that James at the back left?
It is, yes.
Oh, it does look like him.
Is that you, dude? I recognise that lower jaw. I'm assuming that's you, dude.
No, James was there. That is. It looks like organised chaos, doesn't it?
That brilliant. All the ships appear to be on one opposing side.
Oh, yes. I think one side's been a bit quicker with the wind than the other.
Wind just blowing one way.
Yeah, I think the wind gauge has had some effect there for sure.
Oh, let's not go back on about the wind gauge. I remember. Oh God,
just such a.
I love it.
As much as an awesome looking sight as it is, I won't be rigging any more ships.
Oh, Steve.
I know everyone's disappointed, but there we go. Right. So Joe has been starting on his push of pipe box, and he's done those.
Ooh, nice job.
Wow. Cracking stuff.
Nice job.
Lovely stuff.
I need to get going on them. Jeez.
Yeah, I need to paint another, because I've actually finished this strip of the 30 Years' War Imperials. I need to start getting back into that. But yeah, Joe, that is fantastic work, mate. Really, really good.
Fantastic.
They just look good, don't they? The pipe block with the musket wings, they just look good.
Yeah, that was it. I was caught.
He's doing it. I've got visions now of Ian carrying out court martials at Boards and Swords.
He would as well. He'd take it seriously, wouldn't he?
He would take it seriously.
Oh yeah, there's no mucking around.
So back to World War II. Now Jonas has been posting a lot of update photographs on the Facebook group of his Soviet armor. Great mix here, mate. Look at those.
Wowza. Yep. That's a good old selection there. KB1.
The armor, with the white, with the sort of the whitewash. That's really cool.
Yeah, nice. Although they're not quite finished, are they, Steve? I can see they're not finished.
No, they're not based.
No, not
they
finished.
appear to be missing something underneath them, Jonas.
Jonas, you need to sort that out, mate.
Yeah. So Martin has been painting some more cowboys. Look at these. Woohoo! Check that out.
Oh, wow.
He is such a good painter. They are very cool. He's been distracted though, isn't he? 'Cause he's meant to be finished. He's meant to be doing more stuff because he's through his game at Crackon. He's getting distracted by cowboys.
It was 2 years ago that I started painting those cowboys. I still maintain that gunfighter's kit is one of the best plastic kits ever. It's just so good. I just enjoy, and the good thing is it mixes with. I mean, I put bolt action arms and stuff with, and conversely, I've put stuff in that gunfighter box in bolt action armies. But I'm just inclined to do that because I'm extreme.
Oh yeah, you copied the guy from Fear of Fury, didn't you? Because he had a 6-shooter.
It's 6 months since I watched that.
And how do you feel?
Traumatized.
Therapy is working.
There it is, working. Yeah. Again, I'm not going to get involved in it. What a crap film. Anyway, Paul has been working on an Irish Saga warband. Look at them.
Very nice.
Yeah, that yellow is fantastic.
It is really good, isn't it? Yeah, really nice.
I'll be honest. I know next to nothing about Saga. But I know are they slingers and the javelins?
Javelin. Yeah, looks like Javelin are very powerful in Saga.
Yes, they are. They are to move and shoot, basically. Move and shoot, move and shoot, move and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Which upsets me, and my army that doesn't do that.
Oh, but Martin, look at the guy in the back left. He's got a red beard.
Oh, well, you're like that.
Hey,
hey, red beard.
There's one at the front as well. He's got a red beard.
Oh, God, yes, look.
Yeah, hidden behind the spear. He's hiding behind the spear.
Nah, cracking stuff, Paul. That's fantastic. Up next, it's a bit of these are from Nick. These are French 20mm 7 Years War.
Oof!
Oh, wow,
flipping heck! Now that's a uniform I don't want to paint. Jeez.
Would that give me problems, Dom?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's sort of Landschnecks and upgraded to about ×5, and you're probably into those. Yeah.
At least
that's a lace.
Oh God, no. But they look really, really nice.
Mm.
Oh, good stuff. Really, really
Beautiful
good
job.
Dom, here's one for you because I know you'll definitely know what this is, Dom.
Have you seen Jonas's response to you?
From Nathan? No.
That is a glass of beer.
That is ace.
That's an Imperial Knight, isn't it? Yeah, it is an Imperial Knight.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yep, it is. I don't know what house it is.
No, I don't know what house it is either.
That's very cool. I did look at one of those and think this would be, again, when I was in there the other day, going, this would be fun to paint. A couple of years ago, I had one in my Amazon basket, but I just wanted to paint a knight for some reason. And I thought, what are you doing? And then took it out again because it was about 75 or 80 pounds.
Jesus.
And I thought that could be spent on beer. But yeah, that's a cracking paint scheme on that, Nathan. Really, really good. I love the base as well. Really good base.
Yeah. Take note, Jonas.
It's from Paul again. So these are fantastic. Look at these. Oh
my lordy! I'm pleased to. Oh, geez.
Yeah, he strung the bows, didn't he? With hair from his wife.
He did.
Hair from his wife.
Yeah.
It's art, mate. You gotta make sacrifices.
Yeah. But they're so colours of those. They're so sharp.
Just awesome. And I love the fact he's done the little badges on their chests. The unit I did, I didn't do that because I just thought they'd look like they'd look like one of Martin's lizard men by the time I painted it. And those just
amazing. They're nice. Are they Perry's?
Yes, they are.
Oh,
yeah, I thought because I remember butchering.
Although that guy in the middle, the leader, I don't think that's a Perry. Well, maybe that's a different box set head. I don't recognise that.
Yeah, I think the body is, but the head isn't.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And last up, we have from Stephen some Zouaves. Whoa, look at those.
That's a lot of Zouaves. Oh, my lordy.
In fact, I know Stephen posted quite a bit of his epic stuff, but I wanted to show the Zouaves because these are really, really good. I enjoy painting. I've only painted I painted one base of them, but I enjoyed them. They were really, really, really good fun to paint. Red and blue, big baggy trousers and bandanas. That sounds like an MC Hammer song.
Sounds like some of your dubious films late at night.
I don't watch dubious films. I really don't. Velocipaster. Although I've not got around to watching Rubber yet.
Rubber is a work of genius. That's the one about the killer car tire with sockets.
Yeah, the sentient car tire.
Sentient car tire.
See, folks, they're just madness. These two. With our little group chat, Jesus, some of the stuff that gets. But I have to genuinely go and look it up because I have no idea.
Go and watch the trailer for Rubber. Do you know what I didn't believe me.
I didn't believe it until I watched it. And I was like, and then a guy off my team at work actually watched it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm really glad you recommended that to me." Yeah, I don't think he was very appreciative of it, but yeah, he enjoyed it. He thought it was a good. Although saying that, the other week I watched Snakes on a Plane.
That's
Yes.
because I'd never seen that before, and I was just really. You just fancy watching something you'd never seen before, and it's just a bit weird.
Yeah.
And Snakes on a Plane popped into my head, and I'd never seen it before. And you know what? I'll never watch it again, ever.
I did that the other night to watch Punisher, which was. I'm not sure whether I enjoyed it or not, really. But
which version?
Oh, well, it was a new one, I think.
All right, because there's loads of versions, isn't there?
I don't know. Not my thing. I just came on and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. Next thing I knew, it was 2 a.m, and I'd had about 4 whiskeys, so it must have been good.
That'll do. The other week I rewatched for about the 10th time Hobo with a Shotgun.
That's a good film.
Hobo. You see what I have to deal with these two.
It's got
Rutger Hauer's in it, and he's got a shotgun.
Do you remember? I watched. Was it Day of the Jugger? Salute of the Jugger with Rutger Hauer. You seen that where they played a game of like American football with a goat's head in the post-apocalyptic world where everything.
I might need to check this out though.
What's this? Salute of the Jugger.
I've not seen that. No.
Right, right in our after stream debriefing. That's going to be
yes. Right, we've arrived at 10 o'clock. We're actually into overtime at the moment. So, big thank you to everyone that checked in tonight. I've actually really enjoyed tonight. It's been a really interesting topic. I really did enjoy that. Lots of different viewpoints from people.
Oh yes, I have the. Oh, that reminds me before you log off, we got the menu for.
Oh, the menu, yes.
Not that there's anything really on it, but
stop it! Stop it! There you go. I'm trying to help, and you did take it off.
So as you'll see, it's 50% full.
Yes. Next week I better think of something. Okay.
So we're on to Dom, but can you believe it? It has been a year since our Great Plastic Crack survey, and this will be the 3rd one.
A year, really?
Yeah, it's because it probably feels like less because we did the Crackpot Awards, which will probably be very similar to some of the questions. But I'm going to try and throw in some interesting questions. We'll see if we can get people going.
All right. God, I don't see me here.
It's always in June.
Always very interesting. It's always great that we don't know the results either.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah,
I think I really like that. But again, big thank you to everyone that showed up. Big thanks to everyone that's watching on the catch-up. We always appreciate that. Don't forget, we are sponsored by the awesome chaps over at Bows and Swords Hobbies. Pop over to the website, use the code PCP5 when you check out to get an additional 5% off your bits and pieces from there. And again, if it's not in stock, Martin, you back me up. Ian, if you get in contact with Ian, he will seek it out for you.
He will indeed. He will get hold of it for you. Just if there's nothing he can't find. So go and give him a message, drop him an email.
Gaming related,
yes.
Yeah, we're not talking about
caveats under there.
The Ark of the Covenant or something like that. I think that might be slightly beyond his, unless he's like Indiana Jones and we don't know. He could be down for finding holy relics like that. But there we go. Right. So next week we will be on Dom's channel. Not quite sure what the subject will be yet. I'm sure it'll be something enthralling and enchanting as always.
Be absolutely fantastic when I think about
it. How about we do a show about basing vehicles and why it's so bloody awesome?
I think that's not a bad idea.
Can I talk about basing dinosaurs? Because that'll probably be where I'm at.
No, you're not allowed to base. No.
Can't go on.
You can base a dinosaur. You can base a dinosaur.
You can.
Yeah, you can.
Everyone likes to base dinosaurs. Right, we're off. Because it's still warm here and I need coffee. So thanks a lot for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you next week on Dom's channel. Take care, everyone.
Bye. Have a good week.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.